In the aftermath of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, both sides of the political aisle are examining the rhetoric that's polarized our nation, especially online. Joining us right now to talk about the impact of social media, Bradley Tusk, CEO of Tusk Ventures. He's also campaign manager for Mike Bloomberg's mayoral campaign in 2009. How much do you think what we saw, the tragic events of Saturday, are a function of social media today?
I think it's definitely part of it, right? I think we now have an atmosphere. You're seeing each party blaming the other, but the reality is it's everything, right? It's Republicans, it's Democrats, it's earned media, it's social media, it's activists, it's super PACs, it's podcasters, it's pundits, it's all of it. But what social media does, and we've talked about this here a lot, is it brings out the worst instincts in everyone. And so things that you wouldn't necessarily say to another human being face to face, you feel very free to say on social media, especially have some level of anonymity. And so, yeah, it just brings out the worst in us and makes all of this more likely.
And therefore, you would fix it how?
I think you'd fix it how by doing something we've talked about a bunch on this show together, which is you've got to change the underlying liability protections that the social media platforms have. Right now, Facebook and X and TikTok and everyone else has more freedom to say whatever they want than you guys have here on Squawk Box or the New York Times or any other mainstream media outlet. They are not responsible for the content posted by their users. And as a result, two things happen. One, the users post the craziest stuff possible because that's freeing for them. And two, the platforms are rational economic actors, and their goal is to make as much money as they can. And they know that negative content generates more eyeballs and more clicks than positive content. And as a result, they push that out there. And so if you have a company that knows I can make more money by doing something bad, they do it.
Let me ask you a separate question. It's not just happening in social media. I mean, it has transformed itself. Either I don't know if it transformed itself from social media to the real world or the real world has transformed itself to social media. But the point is, it's gotten meaner. It's gotten nastier.
Yeah.
And there are very few people that seem to be standing up and saying this meanness and nastiness can't continue.
Right. Well, look, I mean, part of the underlying problem is we have an electoral system that drives polarization. Because of gerrymandering, the only election that typically matters is the primary. Primary turnout is typically around 10%. Who are those voters? They are the far left, they are the far right, or they are special interests that can move money and votes in low turnout primaries. And as a result, the underlying incentives for politicians who just want to stay in office at any cost is to cater to those groups. Right. And those groups are angry. Those groups are mean. And so all of the incentives you want to keep your job is to echo that rhetoric. And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, so I always argue there's too much money in politics. But if you could actually use the money for good, meaning to take the influence that you have, you don't see, frankly, wealthy donors actually say, I'm not supporting all of this craziness. They say, well, it's a binary thing, and I just have to decide, I like this guy better than this guy, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, I personally think that if we were to put our money, and this is something that I'm doing with my money, into structural reform of the system as opposed to just backing more and more candidates doing the same thing, that's how you change it. So, for example, out of my foundation, we've been building technology that allow people to vote securely on their phones, because what I learned, especially when I ran all the campaigns to legalize Uber around the U.S., is that if you let people advocate politically from their phones, vastly more will do so, and that increases turnout, and you go from that 10% to 30%.
Right. But here's the question. Even, Elon Musk will tell you, I believe, that you can't really let people vote from their phones. That if you let people vote through technology, that these systems are going to get hacked. People won't believe in it. You already have them. We're already in this moment where there are people who don't believe the vote.
We already have a system that A, is highly vulnerable, B, nobody believes in it, C, our entire electoral system and our entire political system is a dumpster fire, D, Elon Musk, for all of his accomplishments, really benefits from the status quo, right? He is a genius at acting like he is subverting the status quo, and yet what does he want? He wants government contracts for SpaceX. He wants Section 230 preserved so that X can make more money. He wants lots of tax incentives for electric vehicles for Tesla. So this is a guy who very much has a strong economic interest in A, keeping things the way they are, and B, betting on who he thinks will be the winning candidate, because it translates into a lot more money for him and his companies.
That wasn't the case with Biden.
Well, Yes and no. Biden has, and NASA and DOD have been pretty good clients of SpaceX and the infrastructure bill. And if you look at the climate measures in the Inflation Reduction Act, put more money into green energy, more money into electric vehicles, electric charging, everything else than any time we ever have in history. And so while Musk has been, and Section 230 has been completely preserved under Biden. So while Musk may be vocally more Republican and he may think, hey, I can do even better off with Trump, he's done pretty well. I
think he would say, look at how much has been wasted on the EV, not the tax credits for the cars, but actually the build out of the charging stations. That has not worked.
Both of them.
Excuse me?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of which?
Both of the charging stations that we've built.
Right. Have not. That's
what I mean.
Have not. Right. Have not been a success.
It's like two of them.
Right. Same thing with broadband access.
I'm here all week.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, Tesla literally never gets off the ground without all the tax credits.
I don't disagree. 100%. By the way, what do you make of his PAC?
Look, I think he is a really clever guy, and I think in a lot of ways he reminds me of Trump in that he is seeking maximal gain for himself at all times. And one of those things right now is how do I get as much attention as possible? And if you endorse Trump right in the aftermath of the assassination attempt and say, I'm going to give $45 million a month, which was kind of a weird number, but let's just say that it makes him the biggest donor to a Trump super PAC. That will, A, get him a lot of attention. We are literally sitting here right now on national television talking about him. That makes him
What do you think that does to his business, though?
I think that he has this unique ability to inspire retail investors in a way that literally no one else does. And every time he does something that they deem to be smart, that benefits him and his businesses tremendously.